In the small town of Morley, where the sound of the wind was louder than people's chat, a scary story began. Under a sky full of stars, Morley was a picture of peace, but this peace was just a cover, hiding some weird and unexplained happenings. The silence of the night was broken by strange sounds. Loud screams from far away, a bunch of whispers that seemed to come out of nowhere. People also said they saw weird things. Shadows that seemed to move on their own. Quick figures darting around the edges of your eye, but disappearing when you tried to look directly at them. And then there was the fear. A real feeling of that hung over the town like thick fog. The people, once happy and easygoing, were now soaked in a scary fear. Their laughter turned into quiet whispers, their smiles into worried looks. The town, which used to be a peaceful place, was now covered in an unexplainable fear. The fear in Morley escalated when the first disappearance occurred. The night was as ordinary as any other, yet by the dawn, the beloved schoolteacher, Miss Penrose, had vanished. As if dissolved into the chilly ether, she was nowhere to be found. Her last known whereabouts were the local school, where she'd been working late, preparing for the next day's lessons. Yet, when her room was found untouched, her coat still hanging on its hook, the town was plunged into confusion. Morley was a small, tight-knit community. Everyone knew everyone. The disappearance of Miss Penrose was not merely a case of a missing person, it was a tear in the fabric of the town's reality. Fear crept in like a fog, chilling hearts and raising questions. How could one of their own simply vanish without a trace, without a clue? But the horror did not end there. In the weeks that followed, more people began to disappear. The local butcher, a pair of young siblings, an elderly couple who had lived in Morley for over half a century, all gone, swallowed by the same mysterious void that had claimed Miss Penrose. Each disappearance was a blow to the town, a strike to its core, shaking the foundations of their community. And with every disappearance, the fear grew. Doors were locked, curtains were drawn, children were kept home from school. The once lively town turned into a ghost town, shrouded in an eerie silence. The echo of laughter and the hum of daily life were replaced by hushed whispers and the creaking of empty swings in the park. Investigations were launched, search parties were sent out, yet no trace of the vanished could be found. The police were as baffled as the townsfolk. No leads, no witnesses, no evidence, just a growing list of the missing and an oppressive cloud of fear. As the town's population dwindled, so did the hope of solving these chilling mysteries. What the terrified townsfolk didn't know was that the answer to their horror was buried deep within Morley's history. The truth was shrouded in the darkness of the past, in a tale told only in hushed whispers and fearful glances. It was a story steeped in fear and superstition, a chilling tale of a curse cast upon the town centuries ago by a woman scorned and accused of witchcraft. This woman, they said, was not an ordinary being. She was a mistress of the dark arts, a wielder of powers most unnatural. As she stood at the stake, flames licking at her feet, she cast a curse upon Morley. It was a curse that would echo through the centuries, a dark promise that every 100 years the town would pay a price for its ancestors' sins, a chilling retribution for a crime steeped in fear and ignorance. And so the curse came to pass. Every 100 years, as the witch had foretold, strange occurrences began to plague Morley. The first sign was always the same, an eerie silence that would descend upon the town as if the very air itself was holding its breath. Then, one by one, people would vanish into thin air, as though swallowed by the shadows. No trace was left behind, no clue as to their whereabouts, just an empty space where once there was life. The connection between the curse and the disappearances was not immediately apparent. It was only when the town's historian delved into Morley's ancient records that he stumbled upon the chilling truth. The disappearances coincided with the 100-year cycles of the witch's curse. The town was not merely facing a series of strange disappearances, they were paying the price for a crime committed centuries ago. The fear that gripped Morley was not just about the present, it was rooted in the past. The people were not simply facing an unknown terror, they were up against an ancient curse, a dark secret that had been buried deep within the town's history. The people of Morley were not just battling their present fears, but the sins of their forefathers. The horrifying truth was out, but the terror was far from over. The revelation of the curse that clung to Morley like an unshakable shadow sent shockwaves through the town. A collective gasp of horror echoed through the streets, a chilling symphony of dread that marked the beginning of their worst nightmare. The townsfolk were desperate, their hearts heavy with fear. They tried everything to break the curse, from ancient rituals whispered down through generations to seeking the help of paranormal experts. Yet every attempt was as futile as the last. The sinister curse, woven into the very fabric of the town, remained unbroken, its grip tightening with each failed attempt. Imagine the desperation in their eyes, the despair that set in as they realized their efforts were in vain. The chilling realization dawned on them: they might not be able to escape their doomed fate. Each day was a torment, each night a journey into the unknown. The once vibrant town was now a ghost of its former self, its spirit crushed under the weight of the curse. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the town of Morley was consumed by a terror that defied explanation. The curse was not just a spectral presence, but a tangible shroud of fear that hung over their lives, tainting their every moment. The laughter was replaced by silence, the joy by sorrow. The curse had not just haunted them, it had changed them. The curse was not just a story whispered in hushed tones, it was their reality. It was a chilling reminder of their past, a past that refused to be buried, a past that had come back to haunt them. The people of Morley were not just fighting a curse, they were fighting their own history, a history that was as terrifying as it was inescapable. In the end, Morley was a town haunted not just by a curse, but by the chilling reality that sometimes the past can't be buried.